Hello and welcome to the first video on this new series that we're starting on functions. We are now on section 2 of the A-level math syllabus, which deals with functions. And today we're going to be learning how to, well, not learning how to, but today we're going to be understanding the term function. So I'm going to make a separate video on function, domain, range, one-to-one function, inverse function, and composition of functions. So in today's video, I will be teaching you what a function is. What a function is. So you all know the word function. You all know the word function. Now, what is a function? A function is a relationship between two variables. No one is going to ask you to define a function in the exam, but it's important that you do realize and understand what a function really is. So it's a relationship between two variables. It's a way of going from one variable to another variable. For example, let's say I have the equation y is equal to x minus 3. This is a function. Why is this a function? Because it's a relationship between two variables. In this case, the relationship between y and the relationship between x. It takes us from one variable to the next. It takes us from x to y. So because this relationship takes us from x, we say that this y here is a function of x. This y here is a function of x. This is how we read this. This y here is a function of x because this y here, it gives us a method of dealing with x. This y here, it gives us a method of dealing with x. It tells us once you get x, subtract 3 from it. So this y here is a function of x because it tells us how to handle x, how to deal with x. So it's a function. So it's a function of x. F here is completely our choice. We can give this any letter. We can give functions any. For example, we could also say y is a function of x, but instead of f, we use g. We can say y is equal to h of x, and so on and so forth. This letter here, this f, this g, this h, it doesn't really matter. It's completely up to us. But this x here is important. This brackets, this x, it tells us that this function here, whatever it is, it's a function of x. It tells us how to deal with x. Let's look at another one. Y is equal to 2m squared minus 3m plus 4. This is another function because it's a relationship between two variables. In this case, this is a relationship between y and m. This is a function. It tells us how to go from m to y. If we want to go from m to y, we're going to take that m, we're going to square it, we're going to multiply it by 2. Then we're going to take that m again, we're going to multiply it by negative 3, and then we're going to add 4. So it's telling us how to deal with m, and we're going from m to y. So this y here is a function of m. Remember, I said letter is completely our choice. You know, f of m, you know, anything that we want. Any letter that we want to use. So that's what a function is. Let's look at another example. T is equal to 2p cubed minus 4p plus 1. Again, this is a function because it's a relationship between two variables, p and t. This tells us how to go from p to t. So in this case, we're going to say that this t here is a function of p. It's a function of p. Or this t here, it's a function of p. We can give it any letter. I'm trying to stress the point that this letter can be anything. So I think now you have a proper idea of what a function is. So whenever you have this situation, you know, this situation, that's what a function is. That's what a function is. Now, just to end this video, function notation. So if you have y is equal to 2x minus 1, we said that we can say, you know, y is a function of x. Y is a function of x because the input is x. So another way of writing this is we can then say f of x is equal to 2x minus 1. This is quite a simple idea to understand. If y is equal to f of x, then f of x can be placed here instead of y, and then we can have f of x is equal to 2x minus 1. If you have t is equal to 2p minus 4, then you can see that this t here, it's a function of p, so therefore you can replace that by saying f of p is equal to 2p minus 4. I'm simply illustrating notation here. You can interchange these two by placing that there. So this is the function notation that you need to know. So that brings us to the end of this video, and until next time.